Our certificate is well recognized. There's a difference in having a certificate and having a recognized certificate. I can tell you that the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro stands shoulder high above every other polytechnics in the country in whatever course we put up.
Some minutes after the expiration of the year 2023, the rector of the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro, Dr. Akinde, in his New Year message, informed the general public that the school has gotten accreditation for additional 25 courses. Razor Times approached the spokesperson of the institution, Mr. Shola Abiala, for details. The PRO enumerated economic importance of the newly accredited courses. He outlined the achievements of the rector so far in the last 1 year. More so, the PRO described the rector as a situational leader. Stay tuned.
Before I say anything, let me appreciate the rector for giving me this opportunity. Though he's not aware, but he so much trusts me that if there's anything to be said about the Polytechnic, he is sure that I will not say something that is not appropriate about the Polytechnics. So your interview is impromptu. I ought to have obtained permission from my boss, but I'm sure he will appreciate whatever I do. My name is Abiala Olushola Alani. I'm popularly called Shola Abiala. I am the Deputy Registrar of Public Relations, but by virtue of this new office that you are meeting me for the very first time, the office of the Public Relations is about to be expanded to a proposed Directorate of Public Relations and Protocol. That means the protocol office will come under my office. So in essence, I can say I am to be Director, Public Relations and Protocol, Federal Polytechnic Ilaro.
Congratulations in advance.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm aware that the New Year message of the rector, Dr. Akinde, he stated that the institution has gotten newly accredited courses. We would like you to tell us what is the economic importance of the 25 newly accredited courses to the institution and to the community.
Thank you very much. Towards the end of last year, the National Board for Technical Education team visited on 2 occasions. First, for the re-accreditation of the existing programs. 22 existing programs were re-accredited. The institution performed wonderfully well. The following week, they came again for resource inspection for additional 19 new programs. And all the new programs were equally approved. As I speak with you, appointments of HODs of the newly accredited departments have been made, and letters to that effect have been written. You see, the rector, like the Yoruba people will say, pé aya bẹ́ sílẹ̀, ó bẹ́ sáré, but aya rector tiwa ó bẹ́ sílẹ̀, ó bẹ́ síṣẹ́ ni. Because the accreditors, the team leader, emphasized that Federal Polytechnic Ilaro happened to be the first polytechnic that will have 3 successful accreditation exercises in 1 year. Because we had an accreditation exercise earlier in the year, and towards the end of the year, we had 2. So that shows that the rector is working. Now back to your question. The economic importance cannot be overemphasized. It shows that the institution is enlarging. And once the institution is enlarging, we have more students. Once we have more students, there will be more employment opportunities. Once we have more staff and students, then the Ilaro economy and its environment will definitely benefit. As you know, some people used to say that remove Federal Polytechnic from Ilaro, then what you get is Ilaro town. But the fact remains that with the presence of the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro, it has increased the commercial activities, both the market women, the transporters, everything And with these newly accredited courses, the landlords, since the institution, though recently also I'm still coming to that, some of the achievements of the rector, apart from the newly accredited courses, the once we have more students, there will be more demand for most of the things, especially accommodation. Our current capacity hostel accommodation is about 10% of the total population of students. Now that additional 19 new programs, both ND and HND, have been added to it, the population, in fact, the advert came out in the Punch of 28th December, and people have been responding. So it's going on to say that if you come to the Polytechnic after 22nd of January, you will see a lot of students, because all these new courses, the MBT gave us the directive that we should commence 23-24 academic sessions, and our new students are resuming. That means both the current courses and the newly accredited courses, all of us will be resuming by January 22nd for academic activities. So Ilaro and Ogun State, even Nigeria in general, will feel the impact of that single exercise, and that is a plus for the Polytechnic and for the rector.
You said during your response that there are other achievements.
Yeah, they are in legion. Maybe when you are going out, you can go to the back of our multipurpose hall. You see a building there. That is our ICT center. That one is undergoing. We have roofed it. All the fittings, all the equipment for that one, they are already available. During the accreditation exercise, the rector made it known to the team that presently the Polytechnic has obtained TED fund approval in principles for the following. One, procurement of equipment for new programs, the programs that we are running. Construction of the new School of Agriculture complex. We have additional school. Before now, we used to have 5 schools plus one, which is School of Part-Time Studies. But now we now have School of Agriculture. We are now having 7 schools in total now. We are acquiring books for new and existing programs and using 2023 library TED fund interventions. We've been giving employment waiver to beef up human capital of the Polytechnic. Like I said, once we have new programs, definitely the existing staff has been overstretched because of the jackpot syndrome. Most of them are gone, but the federal government has given us the waiver to beef up our employment human capital of the Polytechnic. We've also been allowed to do maintenance of more physical facilities like classrooms, laboratories. We are also connecting ourselves to the 33 kVA. You know, this is a Polytechnic where practical activities must be emphasized. And to run practical, we consume a lot of fuel. We consume a lot of fuel because we have some machineries that ordinary generator cannot power. So we are in the process of joining the 33 kVA to improve power supply. So all of these ones and some other ones, if you go around, when you get to UBA, you see that there's an adjoining road that links UBA to the School of Management Studies that passes in front of the Mass Communication Department and link the road beside the multipurpose hall. It has been laterite now, waiting to be tarred. So many things. The rector have done greatly in the areas of academic development, infrastructural development, and human capital development of the Polytechnic.
Thank you. Yeah, that reminds me of one of the agenda of the rector. When he came, he said he's going to empower the students through that work and study.
Yes,
thing.
it has started. It has started.
Okay.
It has started. We started with a pilot project of about 25 students who are working and studying. So what we do is that we give them remuneration. I don't want to mention the amount of money they pay, but if we can allow them to be working either part-time or full-time student, they are students, but we structure it in such a way that it will not conflict with their studies. So at least majority of them, most of our students are indigent, so they don't have enough something. The rector even promised that when we see the performances of these ones, if they do very well, and we'll try to enlarge the scope of that work study something, so that a lot of students will benefit from it. So it has started.
Thank you. That the remuneration, weekly basis or monthly basis, as a kind of wage or salary?
It is on weekly, based on the number of hours put in during the week. It's almost the same thing. Even the work we do also, even if we are paid monthly, it is based on what we do on daily basis.
Now, comparing the last 1 year of the new rector with the first year, is the immediate past rector, what would you like to say?
Well, we all know that governance is a continuum. Even the first rector, Dr. Ogunbadejo, laid foundations, and foundations are laid from time to time by successive administration. So let me use this common English, previous,
Okay.
that is the penultimate rector, what he did was what Dr. Aluko improved on. So the same thing is happening. So having comparisons, one cannot ascertain the achievement of one over the other, because it is a continuum. One will lay the bricks. Even when we are building houses, you lay the bricks. When you lay the bricks, you reach this level, this level. So if Dr. Aluko met 10 programs, I just said if 10 programs, and by the time he's leaving, he had 15. It's an achievement. If Dr. Akinde now here met the number of programs that Dr. Aluko left, and he has added another 19 or 15 thereabout to it now, it's an addition. But the fact remains that Dr. Akinde is building positively on where architect Aluko left it.
Okay, thank you. One of the information trending is that Dr. Akinde started from here.
Yes.
How many rectors has he served? To what extent has he contributed to the institution's development?
Dr. Akinde started as a clerk here. He worked as a clerk here, and from here he was a student. He had his ND and HND here before proceeding to acquire additional qualifications up to PhD level. So I may want to say that even if he wasn't here during the first rector, I think he should be here during the tenure of the second rector, Dr. S.A. Olateru Olagbegi. So I'm sure he even worked briefly as a clerk when Dr. Ogunbadejo was there. So let's say he has worked under all the rectors, and that put him at a good leverage. Apart from being a student here, he is an indigene, a son of the soil. He was born, bred, raised, educated, and let me say enlarging his coast here. So it is like the Yoruba, they used to say ilẹ̀ tí kò bá tọ́jú ẹni ṣú, òkùnkùn ẹ̀ ṣòro rìn. Ilẹ̀ ilé ìtọ́jú rector ṣú, ìfà ó ṣojú ẹ̀ mọ̀, ó tún ṣú. So he can close his eyes and walk every nooks and crannies of the Polytechnic without even stepping on any stone. So he took advantage of his involvement, let me put it that way, involvement in the Polytechnic activities since the beginning. So he will have seen a very good administrator will look at the lapses of the predecessor and work on it. He has seen the lapses of so many predecessors.
Being the son of the soil, being the person who started from the scratch, to what extent do you think, from what is happening around the school premises, has he applied that advantage to the benefit of the students?
Yes. You see, when you understand the terrain of any environment, it becomes very simple and easy for you to operate. So he has taken advantage of that time spent, the time he has spent with the Polytechnic as a very junior officer to immediate staff, becoming a lecturer, rising to become HOD, to become dean of school. You see, he has worked all the works. He has climbed all the steps. He did not just have a sudden jump. So when you move from the the they will say in the ministry you rank and file, when you move from the lower something to the upper this thing, you will have, it is the younger staff, the junior staff that knows the weaknesses of their bosses. So when such staff rise, they will know that, oh, if you talk guy ṣe tí o ṣe dáadáa, let me put that. So it has been working to his advantage. Being a student, he knows what students want. Being a lecturer, he knows how they treat students. Being a lecturer now, being the director now, you know what the student can do, you know what the lecturer can do, and he knows what to do to avert any ugly incident. I think he's been trying in that direction.
Thank you. How will you describe his leadership skill or style?
You know, when we examine the leadership theories, we see that there's no particular theory that is maybe stereotyped. From my own observation or my view of this man, he's merging all those theories. Let me call him a situational leadership. Yes, situational, because Yorùbá sọ pé bí ẹyẹ bá ṣe lọ ṣe máa ń jùkú ẹ̀. He will watch the situation. An offence committed last year which might have attracted a dismissal, say might not this year, depending on the situation and the circumstances surrounding it. Let's say I stole 10 naira yesterday and I was sent to 1 month imprisonment. It doesn't mean that if I steal that 10 naira again, I should go for 10 years or more or less. I may go more, I may go less, depending on the situation. That is the situational approach that the rector has been using. He has been using to tackle situations. So he's a pragmatic leader. He's using both stick and carrot. When you do something that he needs to pat you on the back, he will do it. And when you do something that you need to squeeze his face up, he will do it. Yorùbá will say pé téèyàn ò bá lejú sí aráalé, aráàta ò ní réèyàn sáré. And when you know in Nigerian situation or the human nature as when you are too gentle, they take you for granted. When you are too hard, they take you for devil. So he is merging the two. Ibi tó bá yẹ kó fọ́ pa lórí á fọ́ pa lórí, ibi tó bá yẹ kó.
Thank you, sir. Now, with all these fine qualities as you describe him, how are the management, the workforce, the staff, how are they responding?
Yeah, you will also see, even without saying it, that the responses of the staff are positive. Because if not, how could he have been able to have 3 accreditation exercises in 1 year? You cannot clap with one hand. So if, as he's pulling, the others are not pushing with him, he wouldn't have been able to. He cannot be rector and be lecturer and be this and be HOD and be dean at the same time. So the cooperation is tremendous. They are cooperating. Let me say we are cooperating with him, because if I am not doing my job, you are not doing your own, others are not doing, the rector will not achieve anything. He cannot just sit down in the office and say do this, do this, do this. He's a leader by example, because whatever I can, he has headed so many committees, and so when assigning jobs for those committee headships now, you understand what it takes to do it. Nǹkan tẹ́ ń sọ ìyá èmi tá a bá ṣe báyìí tá a bá ṣe báyìí tá a bá ṣe báyìí tí when your subordinate, those that you know what he ask you to do, you will do it better. Yes. So the cooperation is tremendous.
So from your comment, it appears the school is well positioned for advancement.
Of course.
Now, what is your message for the potential students and parents?
Yeah, the Polytechnic has a culture of academic excellence, and we have zero tolerance for indiscipline. You see, I was opening a file the other time. I have a file here where I have letters of appointment for HODs, the newly appointed HODs. So the letters are here. So also about yesterday or so, some letters were brought of students who were withdrawn from the institution, who were expelled from the institution, who were either rusticated for one offence or the other. What we are saying now is that here we are proud to be called a citadel of academic excellence, and we have a culture. You will recall that for some time our academic calendar was unbroken for about 15 or 17 sessions. It was not that there were no strikes during that time, but we knew how we manage such things. So anybody coming to the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro as a student must be ready to face academic rigor, but in a conducive learning environment. So if you go to town, ask them, hey, what do they call this place? And when you are coming to Federal Polytechnic Ilaro, Laro, go and think about it very well before you come, because we will not just pat you on the back or give grades. We don't give grades. So here you cannot get not even ND under 6 weeks. So talk less of going to service after 6 weeks. No, here you have to go through it, and they know when they come. They know, they call it polytension. The student called the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro Federal Polytension Ilaro.
Then with the so much rigor, what do they stand today?
Oh, your certificate. The former rector used to say it that his pride is that when our products come back, they will tell us that they attended interviews, and that the first thing they will say then that if you are from Federal Polytechnic Ilaro, come to this side, and the others. So that shows level of academic excellence we impacted onto these people. So the joy of that rigor is that our certificate is well recognized. There's a difference in having a certificate and having a recognized certificate. I can tell you that the Federal Polytechnic Ilaro stands shoulder high above every other polytechnics in the country in whatever course we put up. Before now, I won't mention them. There are some institutions that are best known for mass communication, but now I think we've taken over. I think I will be the first polytechnic to have both a radio and television station on campus we use for training. Most of our activities on campus are maybe boosted by the activities of music, the technology department. We don't borrow bandstand, we don't do anything, they use it. Mass communication will cover all the events we will do. Our hotel and catering will do the service of whatever. We even have an accommodation demonstration center where we can host our visitors, and they will be attended to by the staff, the students of the hospitality management. So the importance and the gain, the joy, the benefit of coming to Federal Polytechnic Ilaro is even felt by them before they leave, because they when they wanted to go, normally students Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ kí n padà wá sí bíbá yìí o, wàhálà ti pọ̀ jù, ewé kìnìkan. But by the time they come back, or some people who did their ND elsewhere and they come here for HND, some people will come with upper credit, and by the second semester of first year they will have been on probation. But by the time they tighten their belts, they go, oh, this is not where I'm coming from. I'm not saying this to disparage any institution, but we have a culture that we follow religiously.
So lastly, with the pace at which the rector is working, where do you think FPI will be? I mean, in the next, before the expiration of his first term.
Some land, what do they call them? Àwọn tó ń talẹ̀ yìí,
Land speculator.
land speculators. They used to say that wọ́n sọ fún àwọn pé táwọn bá talẹ̀ tán pé ṣé àwọn máa ta òfurufú ni, and they said yes pé because in some places now wọ́n á ta ground floor fún ẹlòmíì, tẹ́lòmíì bá fẹ́ kọ́ upstairs sórí ẹ̀ wọ́n á sọ fún pé á tún owó san. So to some institutions, sky is the limit, but to us, sky is the beginning. So I see the Polytechnic going higher. You know, when they're talking about Polytechnic education, they cannot mention 1, 2 without mentioning Federal Polytechnic Ilaro. No. Even we at times when we are first the best polytechnic, if any other polytechnic overtakes us, we will come second. The following year we will overtake. We try as much as possible to maintain, because getting to the top might be easy, but retaining that thing, and that is the propelling factor for the management of Federal Polytechnic, especially the rector. It's better for you to start with second position and go to first. But even if you go from 10 to 9th, they will praise you. But if you move from first to second, it will be wahala. So we've attained a level that we need to be very careful. He who is down needs no fear, no fall. We all work together with him to make sure that the Polytechnic in the next 3 years, it is not we that will say this is where we are, but people will come from outside and say, yes, this is Federal Polytechnic Ilaro.